Welcome to episode 506 of This Week in League. I'm Nate.
And I'm Jay.
And I'm Glenn.
What's happening, fellas?
It's
a different lineup on the video call tonight because Stepdad wasn't first in. So Glenny's on top.
Oh,
So
Glenny is on top. In life, metaphorically. How good.
and tonight he's on top of you.
Winning at life, Glenny.
So yeah.
Like, to be
Variety's the
honest,
spice of life, as they say.
to be honest, the Skype grid is art imitating life. Because Jay, that shirt you're wearing, I'll tell you what, I've got the world's
That's
hardest.
That's his women in league tie-dye shirt.
I've got the world's hardest button mushroom over here. I can tell you.
No, this is I'm repping my friend's brand, the Double store. So they put out a line of shit a little while ago. So by repping, I mean only you two can see it.
It's a fairly elite viewing club.
You haven't quite worked yourself up to the point of wearing it in public.
I don't think they've... Oh, this is my gym shirt. I got a nice pair of pink Air Max 90s that I wear with it because today, as everybody should know, is Air Max Day. So
Yes.
Did
Did you get the big bubbles?
No, I didn't. I'm currently having every single dollar that the family makes going to the other big bubble, which is the
housing bubble.
the baby that's growing
The baby bubble.
currently, who is pending. So he's not far away. So
How many weeks is that now?
2.
I lost track. 2 to go.
2, yes.
Fuck me.
If everything goes to plan.
And is it looking like going full or?
Who knows?
Yeah. Yeah, well, considering the stress early on in the piece,
Like, yeah,
you've done well to get 38.
the little fucker's hard to kill. So
Yeah, I don't think I've had one go to 38.
so
Like, Killer was out around like 32 or something. Like he was fucking,
Yeah.
he was quite early. That's good. All right. Now, what do we talk about? What do we talk about these episodes? We talk about the games, don't we?
This is
Or we
reviews.
talk about- yeah, right.
reviews.
Okay, cool.
We'll save your. You got another couple of
14
days.
fucking years you've been doing
I know,
this.
right?
Oh no,
14 years.
we've only done this format for 2.
Okay.
Well, yeah, that's right. That's right. Thank you.
You know.
Yeah, fuck up,
That's
Glenny.
still not okay.
Well, hang on. At 2 years old, you were probably still shitting yourself. So
42 years old. I'm still-
Still shit.
no, you've got another
Right
couple
amount
of
of
days. You got another couple of days to hand in a couple of rough edits of your Aaron Woods spin before you actually have to present it to the class.
You will know because I put it in a group chat.
Yeah.
I was ready fucking 15 seconds. But yeah, I still haven't seen the official. I mean, I'm certain it's going to happen, but I haven't seen the official confirmation yet. But I bet you it happens before Wednesday, so that's probably not a bad idea.
That's it.
But fuck, I've got fucking yes, to be honest, people are going to be disappointed with the spin because realistically, the two players that are leaving are like they can't crack the 22 at the moment, so that means they're minimum 3rd, 4th drop
Yep.
to an injury, and he's only going to take that place as well. So I'm not too bothered. I mean, Blacktown, I'm sure, will benefit immensely from the experience, and look, it's great that Siebes, or probably more to the point, Mestrov, has seen all of the talk about Woodsy back in the day, how we nearly signed him like 10 years ago when he was still good, when he was leaving the Tigers initially. And, back then it all came out how he was a massive Manly fan as a child and it was his team. And now, as the twilight of his career, the last, 6 to 8 months of his career, he's finally going to realise that dream and wear the maroon and black of the mighty Blacktown Workers. And it's closer to the 2040 for him as well. So, look, I feel like everyone wins, but least of all us. Now, the games from the weekend. Thursday night.
Those.
The L's. This is a fucking incredibly disappointing turn of events. probably more so for you. But
Say, you fucking telling me.
But as a connoisseur of the Eels losing, and having the 0 in front,
as an Eels loss historian,
I mean, I'll tell you, there's that Owen whatever joke. I mean, it does not get old. In fact, I'm looking to test the boundaries of that Owen joke this year with you, Glennie, to see just how many fucking Owens are going to happen. How many numbers are going to happen at the end of the year?
Are there 26 different Owens in the fucking world?
Well, I'm sure there is, but the final one is Luke's Uncle Owen, just fucking smouldering outside of his fucking little house on Tatooine. So the Eels 17 defeated the Penrith Panthers 16, and the Eels points came as follows: tries to Bryce Cartwright, Brendan Hands with a try, Mitchell Moses 2 conversions, 2 penalty goals, and the field goal. Defeating the Panthers 16 tries to Dylan Edwards and Zach Hosking, 2 conversions to Cleary, 1 penalty goal to Cleary, and a 2-point field goal to Cleary. And I guess, Stepdad, do you want to take it away?
Yeah, look. All in all, I'm not terribly disappointed with this game from a holistic point of view. As in, it was just a high quality game of football that eventually ended up coming down to a fucking brain snap by Mitch Kenny. You know, it really was the defense was there, and it was better than it had looked all year. The attack's still obviously a little bit clunky, and there has to be something figured out. Like the glaring problem with Penrith that everybody knows about at the moment is the hooker rotation. And they've gone from having something there that was so great in Appy that they could carry Mitch for portions of a game.
He got puffed, yeah.
That's it. In order to let Appy be Appy. You know, to have him to come on as a 55, 60-minute absolute fucking dynamo. Mitch Kenny was a suitable replacement there. It doesn't work.
Yeah, I think Kenny's tapped out. I think the job that they're expecting of him is beyond him.
Yeah.
My humble opinion.
Yeah. Yep, no, I certainly agree. Definitely agree. And it doesn't mean that he can't start games.
Yeah, that's it. They can always fix it. The problem is he is a problem, but he's much less of a problem if you just do what you did with Appy and just fucking swap him off much earlier.
Yeah. Honestly, this is a hot take. I don't think he's a hooker. I just don't think he's a hooker. I think he's a lock, but he's not going to get to play lock in that side, and he might be a serviceable guy coming off the bench to fill in for some tired forwards, but they're trying to shoehorn him in at hooker to play at that level sans Appy. And
Are you trying to say, right? Is this your pitch right now to bring Mitch Kenny to Leichhardt?
No, I mean, I'm sure he would come and be quite good at the Tigers, but compared to the other Tigers. But
I'm sure he'd be. Yeah,
and I'm not saying
wealthy.
that. I'm not saying that as a slight on Mitch Kenny. I just don't think he's that guy.
Yeah, look, you know, he's played a lot of 9, obviously, you know, coming up. But
Luke Brooks has played a lot of 7. You can tell me he's halfback.
But did Mitch Kenny win like the 2017 Dally M Best Hooker Award?
For me, this game was the glaring illustration of the clutch versus the anti-clutch, and there's a lot made of Moses kicking a field goal from 15, 20 metres out straight in front to win the game, and he certainly carried on like he'd just won the premiership. But, you know, and off the back of signing the big contract, and I get it, but the play from Cleary to get the penalty, kick it, put it on the fucking 40-metre line, position himself, line up, stand and fucking deliver with a guy in his face from almost 50 out and drill it, that's clutch.
100%. Yeah,
Mitch
that
Moses,
is.
What Mitch Moses did
was
is not clutch. Any 7
from
under 7s up should be able to do that.
Well, yeah, anyone can knock it over from 20 out. I mean, and right in front. I mean, but you know, the club did the team did the work to get him into the position to do the thing. So I mean, you know, he still had to kick it. And fuck, we've seen some people miss from that close. I saw like Latrell fucking bomb a shit one the other night. Yeah. So like, from a similar thing, maybe a touch
Yeah,
further
that
back.
was ordinary.
I just think the media has jumped all over it.
The
now.
thing with the Cleary, yeah, well, I don't think the media's jumped all over. I mean, the media was clearly like more talking about the Cleary one, but the thing with the Cleary one is it was also the most set up field goal that anyone's ever had in the history of field goals as well. I mean, like, it was. I mean, obviously well thought through to get it done. But I mean, when you're starting from like a penalty tap restart and everything like that, you put yourself where you want to be. But you had to execute. Well, I mean, I actually was looking at some of these ones just to see, like, and we've had even in the last sort of decade, we've had a ton of amazing ones. But one's done in the heat of battle, and that's why I mean, the media's like all hyper, like, oh my god, it's fucking gross, like. It was fucking great, and I rate it more from like the totality of, okay, you got the penalty. What do we got to do? We got to get a 2-point field goal. All right, I'm going to kick. I've got to accurately kick for line, which doesn't always happen. Then you got to get the thing, and I got to put myself where I got to be, and they got to chuck it to me, and then I got to do it. It's like the totality of the whole thing's great, but like then you look at, and like I hate to fucking give credit to this guy, but especially on a podcast with Glenn.
If you say
Braithen,
Righto, thanks. That's full time on episode 506.
It was kicked from a similar distance, but it was like wide out in the side. But it didn't come from a set up situation. They tried to run it and score a try down the left hand side, and then it gets thrown back to this guy, and it's just mayhem. And like the fact that he kicked that one is like, that's fucking that was incredible, because that was just broken down mayhem, and to kick, and with the stakes and everything, the stakes were the same, but finals go.
It was the start of the Tigers Meme Club.
Yeah, it was like the first.
That was ground
shot.
zero.
That was the canary that dropped dead, followed by the workers dropping dead when fucking Lottie dropped the bomb.
But in saying that, what I'd like to see from Penrith moving forward, because all the little pieces are there, like their play the ball speed is improving week on week. The way they really dominate territory for a great part of the game, especially with their backs doing the hard work out of their own end. I'd like to see a little bit more patience and control from them in attack. I don't feel at the moment that they're that side that they were previously, where they would be happy to enter into that territory battle with you and just chip away at you, 8-10 metres a set, until all of a sudden they've got an attacking opportunity, and then it'd be repeat set. Like, they forced one dropout that entire game.
Yep.
I feel at the moment that they're still winning that territorial battle, but then they're going for the all or nothing play. They're not taking their time. Because remember, there was that leading in, you'd look at Penrith games and you're like, oh, they're the best team in the comp by far, but none of their games are blowouts. None of their games are big scores. They're small. It's because they just camp down the other end of the field and be really happy 2, 3, 4 sets in a row. Oh, well, no points. Okay, that's fine. Just go back to what we do. Win the territory battle, back down the other end. Then this time, 1 set, 2 sets. Oh, yep, there's the try. And just wait for their opportunities to really present. Where at the moment it's, oh yeah, okay, we're down here. Now it's all or nothing.
Yep.
And I think that's costing them. Because they're not that team that's going to go out and blitz everyone by 30. That's not them. So, but to Parramatta's credit, if they can get up for a meaningless game in the early stages of the competition and kid themselves that does something to make up for the absolute fucking generational embarrassment that they heaped on themselves in the grand final last year, people will believe a horrible lie over an uncomfortable truth. So, well done, Parramatta.
They come out, like, the social media comes out the next day and they're like, or like after the game, Parramatta's one's like, revenge. No, it's not. It's round 4. It's round 4, mate. Yeah, okay, you're round 4. Oh, yeah. I'm sure they're flushing their fucking rings down the toilet as we speak.
No, but again, well done by the Eels.
And now Gutho's been informed by the club that they're on the lookout for a fullback.
Yeah, that's fucking glorious.
Delightful.
I hope
That's
there's more
it.
about that comes out by Wednesday, let me tell you.
Although,
Go to so-
hang on,
yep.
wasn't the talk previously that he was fine? He was going to play 6 anyway if Moses left.
Yeah. He says a lot of things.
That was anyway.
He does a lot of things. He dances around.
Daniel.
Tries to teabag people after,
Yeah.
these little fucking Gutherino, Diamond Dallas Page rip-off bullshit.
Moses, the clutchest motherfucker in the game.
Fuck.
Anthony,
How can the Eels enjoy their team and the people that play for it with a straight face? I mean, honestly.
for the same reason you can.
Oh. Wow.
For the same
Honestly.
reason you can defend
Righto,
DCE.
boys. I'm off.
Oh,
This is going to
the
take a few
Mans
hours.
is fucking incredible.
There you go. That's them. You've just done a Parramatta
No,
impersonation.
but for example, Glennie, he's not defending anyone. The Tigers. We are fucking the most level. You defend you'll defend your players, with the flog shit they'll carry on with.
Yeah.
But the thing is, they actually perform.
Yeah,
The Eels are they're like the flogs, without the fucking track record to back it up.
Yeah, they're supporting on potential, and I suppose when that's all you've ever known, that's all you do.
Yeah. I mean,
You ever
because
see-
we are going into like the second generation that hasn't seen them win a grand final.
Do you ever see that experiment
Third even.
from back in the fucking black and white TV days where they'd get a bunch of fleas and they'd be jumping all over the fucking place and they'd tip them all in this jar, and then they put the lid on the jar, keep feeding the fleas, and then after I think it was like a week, the fleas had been in there and they could only jump as high as the lid of the jar. You could take
I have not seen that. It's interesting.
You could take the lid off the jar, you could tip them out of the jar, and for the rest of their life, they would never jump higher than the lid was on the jar. Maybe that's Parramatta
Tremendous.
fans. You fucking fleas.
So you tip them into Combank Stadium.
And then put the Gutho lid on them.
And they can't jump, and they can't jump far enough to get out to Acor for the grand final.
Yeah, good.
Outstanding.
Anthony, Penrith have ruined the funniest possible start to the season. I hate them forever.
Yeah,
May all their
agreed.
slacks have crotch blowouts in public settings.
I love how this slacks thing is just fucking caught on too.
Matt said, I could feel Vossi's hard on through my TV. What a game. Cleary's field goal was one to remember. Penrith were great in defence. I'm stoked we found a hooker in hands. His work out of dummy half let the attack flow. The premiership window can't be shut because it is broken and shattered. But no, hands was good as a hooker. Gene, he said, didn't both teams complete above 90%? Very close. Penrith was 85, but for the your point stands. Very little stoppages, as if Cleary isn't an oiled up Val Kilmer towards the end of main play. Oh man, I'm so fucking not used to losing recently that it stings. But man, it's so good to watch a game that quality 4 rounds in. There you go. Bethany on Twitter said, Penrith are such nice dads, they let their sons win to keep them interested. Jay Bartley 90 said, not conceding 30 points, a near perfect completion rate, and beating Penrith in Golden Point. Yep, consider me pretty chuffed. More of it, please. Big G Train on Twitter said, Penrith lost more hooker tonight than an Albanian sex ring. Big Gav 8 on Twitter said, cracking game, not a bad player on either side. Ryan Madison showed that when he's not being a selfish cunt, he's one of the best offensive back rowers in the game. That's true. Irrespective of who would have won in extra time, this is the grand final we deserved last year. Well, no, it's not. The grand final you deserved is the one you got. Next game.
Right. Melbourne Storm 24 defeat the West Tigers 12 down at the Korean Housewife in Melbourne. And the Storm tries through Nick Meaney, William Warbrick, Justin Olam and Cameron Munster. Meaney 2 conversions and 2 penalty goals. The Tigers 12 tries to Kapoa and Appy, and Dewey 2 conversions from as many attempts. Glennie.
Look, the Purple Plotters, they put 24 points on the poor old Tigers and still spruiked about their fucking win, about how great their team is. They, Munster they looked better with Munster, but anyone that looks at that performance wearing a fucking purple hard hat and thinks that their team is back is sadly mistaken.
Can I just point out for any new listeners or people that have jumped on board this year, when Glennie's giving his Tigers reviews, very often he's actually just speaking to one person. And in this case, it is long-term Storm superfan Grover. But
why you got to explain my shit? Just let people fucking dig through the layers. They'll get
just
there.
makes it easier to be immersed in it.
You're speaking to a large audience, Glenn. You just stop focusing in on just individuals, mate.
No, because you just got to pick them off one by one.
I know he's done very well, and he's always supported our Patreon and bought the merch and goes to all the meetups. But he gets his fair share. Yeah.
Oh, you say you were picking off one by one. I mean, if you're picking the Melbourne Storm listeners off one by one,
No, just the listeners. So, you know, Mike Stevenson maximum. 1 week.
29 days because one of them does himself in every year.
So, look, for the Tigers, they, I hate to say it, but Brooks, there was at least half a dozen instances where there was something promising happening, and the ball came to Luke Brooks, and immediately the play died. Whether it was an ill-advised or a poor option on a kick, or a drop ball, or a wrong option, it just goes from fucking bad to worse. This cunt. I'm really struggling with it. And it's
is this the game? Is this the game that's killed Brooksy for you? For good?
No, I think he's been dead for a while, to be honest. But they've painted themselves into
for you though.
For me,
when did your hope that he could actually play die? I feel like you had some. Yeah, you kind of still kind of wait and see the start of this season, though, right?
Well, you've got to put a positive spin on it, Nathan. That's what I try and do every week.
Yeah.
But I just feel like the Tigers have, with Brooks in particular, have painted themselves into such a corner that there's no other card to play now. The whole thing where they could potentially have shipped him off to Newcastle fucking came and went. You know, there's the money he's on. There's, you know, half a dozen times over the last 4 years or 3 or 4 years, you know, it's been on the cusp of him leaving, and then they come out and publicly support him. So they can't come out and criticise him now because it paints every decision they've made around him over the last 4 years in a poor light, which doesn't surprise me because management decisions that they've made, almost every management decision they've made over the last 10 years has been poor. But
it's not, again, if you're fucking half good at your job, this is the time to do it. The time to do it is after, maybe not this one. You give him another week without doing next to him, right? And then you come in and you say, for years and years and years, we've been supportive of Luke Brooks and we've done multiple things for his development. Some might say we've been too supportive of him. You know, when others have been mean and critical, we've been fucking hopeful. Whatever, you know, you play that card. But then all of a sudden, however, from the beginning of this year, Luke was given benchmarks and expectations of the club for him to meet. And then he was given an opportunity to steer the ship and you know, moving Adam Dewey so he could be the dominant half. And unfortunately, he hasn't met those metrics. So we'll now be looking to move him on, or now he'll be playing Reggie, whatever the fuck it is. Mm. But this is actually the time. This is about the only time.
So, mate, just tell me, you've got a lot on at the moment, and I just don't know, you know, how is the plan to pack up your house and your impending arrival and the fucking tribe of kids that you've got amongst your household there, and shipping everyone down to Concord to take up your new position as CEO of the West Tigers? Because if someone come out and said that, and I'm loath to give you any credit, ever, okay? You don't understand how hard this is.
Just how low. I am the most loathed man.
Listen, if they come out and said that, the amount of respect that I would have for the Tigers for at least being fucking honest around the glaring fucking problem.
Yeah.
I would not have a problem with that.
But, and again, this is that thing around, and look, I'm not saying that every other club would be great at this, because in the same position as Wests, they'd probably be just as fucking dire. However, it's not hard to admit your mistakes. Then you soften the blow by saying, if you actually go too hard on me for those mistakes, you're a cunt because I was actually trying to be nice to somebody. And in being nice, I've probably done myself a disservice. That's what a great fucking club we are. This will mean implications for the club moving forward with salary cap and this, but we believe it's the best thing for us and Luke.
You are grifting as Tigers CEO, and I never thought I'd hear it, and that's impressive.
Man,
really
I would run the shit out of that place.
So it's a low bar.
We should be.
I'd rate your...
delist every player on the books currently.
Correct.
Except for Appy Coruscant.
I'd get Ivan and Nathan back properly. I wouldn't fuck that up. My fucking
Tickets,
quads.
please.
Can you imagine my
Here's
quads?
The bus is back. Let's go.
The bus is back and it's got wheels. Look, the one positive I can take out of it is that in years gone by, Melbourne, albeit they were not the purple plotters in those days, but it wasn't all that many seasons ago where they'd put 60 on us and probably should have put 80. But it's shit with Brooks is dire, and I just don't know the way out for them that they can legitimately play, because I don't know that they've got the stones to take Jay's approach. But
he could just get us. He could just mysteriously, do his MCL or something and fuck off to England.
Or
Yeah, and Japanese rugby or something. You get a nice payday over there.
He'll go over to England, fucking dominate, Man of Steel, and then come back and join the Knights.
Yeah. Did you see how much they love fucking Wee Man when Jackass went to Japan?
There you go.
He'd be a fucking superstar over there.
So, yeah, disappointing. Again.
Didn't? No, keep going, Glenn.
No, it's a disappointing performance where, all the talk was, the Tigers, they're desperate, and they didn't play like a desperate side.
No, this was actually probably their worst performance of the season.
Yeah.
Because it didn't have one of those pockets of hope where they threw some points on and, and looked, partially competent for a brief period of time. And that's a big problem. They can't play, they can't execute anything to do with first grade rugby league for more than a couple of minutes at a time.
Yeah.
If that.
And I was of the opinion that Sheens would come back and that he's been keeping a close eye on the game and analysing and just, he's been in the lab and just boiling up fucking rugby league genius. But I don't, this is going to shock you both, I don't think that's the case. I think he got a phone call and they said, "Hey, Sheensy, you want to come back and coach the Tigers?" The what? Coach the what? Come back and coach the Tigers. The fucking what? And they're like, yeah, there's, free coffee and cake at the cafe at Concord. I'm in. Sign me up.
There's two clubs at the moment that are showing it glaringly. We'll get to the other one in the last game of the round. Spoilers. But it's even... Do you remember those Newcastle Knights teams when they were just... You thought they're the worst first-grade rugby league side that could ever be put together. They were just untalented at football. They still went out there...
But enough about 2023. What are you talking about?
And the glory days before the credit days with fans, where they'd pack out their home stadium every week to watch them get absolutely pumped, but all they wanted was a little bit of heart out of the guys.
Yeah.
They just wanted an effort.
Just effort.
And those Newcastle
I miss those Knights.
Yeah, they were fucking awesome.
And I miss those Knights fans as well.
But
I don't miss any Knights fan.
The glaring
Not
thing
one.
here is across that park, you've got, I reckon there were two guys, like Bateman was trying his guts out, and Appy's still there trying to make something happen. But the rest of them don't give a fuck. And that is fucking horrible. That is absolutely fucking horrible. You know, have you resigned yourself, Glennie, to what we were saying about Appy? That he's got maybe 2 or 3 more rounds in him before he just checks out?
No, I think you're underestimating. I think I think he. But he's seemingly growing increasingly frustrated with what's going on around him.
Surely someone can fucking see. What about the fucking hot chick that does the video work just sits in the box of the games? Why can't she fucking tell him something? Someone to say, listen,
Simon
obviously, just
Dwyer.
fucking Appy's gonna. Here is a tape of Penrith. Here is a tape of the West Tigers. Watch what Appy does here. And do you see how you've got this guy and this guy and this guy pushing up, giving him multiple options? Why can't our 3 guys there do? Why are they standing 10 metres back,
Yeah.
waiting for something to happen?
Tackle 1 doesn't mean one guy runs.
Tackle 2, one guy still runs. Tackle 3, nobody runs.
Listen,
Guys, you're doing it all wrong.
It's genius ball.
before we go to socials here, I got a socials thing. This happened this morning. I saw it.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to put the guy's handle on there because I doubt he listens to the show, and I don't want to cause a pylon. But he's a West
Remember those
Tigers.
good old days?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I'm not going to cause a pylon on someone who otherwise might not deserve it. But I just wanted to pass it through Glennie because I don't think he's seen this. And this guy has said, has the NRL, and he's tagged the NRL, has the at NRL failed the at West Tigers by allowing a club to go 12 plus years without a single finals match, letting players and a coach break contracts, allowing a suspended CEO to return, hitting the club with major salary cap penalties? It's obviously not a fair/even competition. And when I first saw that, I was like, oh, this guy's like a parrot. He's like,
Yeah.
he's taking the piss sort of thing. Nah. Then he comes in on a reply later and goes, surely come 6 to 7 years of no finals, the NRL does a review and makes recommendations at least. How does it get to 12 plus years to the point that members and fans are going to hate the sport and will never watch a match again? He replies to another person, it's at the point that members and fans now hate the sport and refuse to watch it. Then to me, that's on the NRL. They needed to do a review over 5 years ago and decide if there'd be any improvement, otherwise cut them loose. No team should be bad for that period of time.
That last bit, if he'd have started that rant or had that last bit in the beginning, then I reckon he sounds a lot less of a cooker. Because that bit made it make sense. As in, after 6 years of no finals, then you should be given, well, hang on, you've got 3 years to turn this around, or we're going to take your franchise away from you and give it to fucking Norths, or, the Dolphins could have come in early, whatever the fuck it is, but, essentially have a move to a relegation model, not every year, but under certain conditions.
That's the end point of that. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a fine line. It's a fine line between, well, hang on, the NRL's not in there meddling in everyone else.
Yeah, I do think the onus is on the club itself to do the review, to make the adjustments for them to get back to the finals rather than the NRL, which seems a little bit like collusion, if I'm honest. But
I don't. What'd you say? Like collusion?
Well, just the NRL engineering certain circumstances to make a club better. The club has the same, salary cap and those conditions and the ability to operate in free agency as any other club. They just do it. They just do it poorly.
Well, okay. So put it this way: like in American sports, there was that occasion with the Clippers owner where he said some racist things.
He was dropping N-bombs though. It wasn't like
and
see, he was dropping N-bombs. The Tigers are just dropping bombs. Like, that's why they're bad.
Yeah.
But no,
And
but I'm
the
saying
past
so there was
made out of human shit.
But there was a position there for the NBA to come in and go, well, because of this, and this, in your franchise agreement, I know it's a very different model to what the NRL work under, you're now going to be forced to sell your stake, right? I could see a world in which, under certain circumstances of, they have to be very clearly laid out, that the NRL, may cause a reshuffle of management or.
Well, there was rumours that Pascoe was walking last week, and then he come out on the fucking podcast and said, "Oh, I can't believe people make up these rumours. I'm not going anywhere," and it's so devastating. I had to tell all the staff I was staying. I could only imagine the staff going, fuck.
So they had to put away the coleslaw and the fucking chickens and everything else they had ready for the party.
He's like, what do you got there, Beryl? A cake? What is it? Oh, don't worry about it, Justin. No, don't. Oh, fuck, he opens a box and it says, fucking see ya.
It probably points to the larger issue, and I know this has nothing to do with the Tigers, but we've spoken about this before. The complete unprofessionalism of how the clubs are structured now anyway.
Yeah.
In the fact that you have some clubs like Manly that are privately run, that can operate in that, and then you have others that are owned by leagues clubs or licensed venues or things like that, or by the media organisations that show and report on the game.
Mm-hmm.
So there are far bigger issues in terms of the professionalism of the relationship between clubs and the governing body, or the central league, before we get to talking about forcing the Tigers to be good. That's all the time we have for socials on that one. So fuck all you Tigers fans.
Yeah, and Melbourne fans too. Don't forget to fuck them.
Although I did like this one from Dean K88. He said, "I wonder how Robbie felt knowing he was the third best Tigers hooker involved in that game." Get it? Because Harry Grant was there too.
Don't explain it. It'll drop. Give people more credit. God, I sound like a Knights fan. The Brisbane Broncos 18 defeated the Dolphins 12 in the inaugural Battle of Brisbane, except for the ones when they were playing the Crushers. The Broncos 18 came through tries to Jesse Arthurs, Selwyn Cobo, Kurt Capewell and Katoni Staggs. Reynolds 1 from 4 conversions. The Dolphins 12 came to tries to Jared Wallace and the Hammer, with Jermaine Osako getting both of his attempted conversions.
That game was in all aspects a fucking win for the Dolphins.
Yes. Most certainly a moral victory.
100%. The amount of fucking crowing, and I thought it was bad when Parramatta fans were going off like they'd won the fucking premiership. The amount of fucking, "this is our fucking home," that I heard
how's it
from fucking Broncos fans.
That fucking Flow Rider song on people's fucking stories and for fuck's sake.
Well, but you must follow cunts, Glennie. I didn't see that once.
Shout out to Crizzy.
But
of course he has Flow Rider on his shit.
the Logan of pop music. But like you beat a team that has played 4 games together without their half for most of the game, without their hooker, and without their best defensive player, and you beat them with essentially an intercept try. That is absolutely nothing to be impressed with.
And I don't know what minute of the game it was when they lost O'Sullivan.
Early.
But
fucking early, like 20 minutes in or something.
No, it was in the second half, wasn't it?
Was it?
Yeah, it was in the second half. But they had you had Tessie on one leg as well from like very fucking early on, like first 20 minutes, whatever. But with the unfortunate injuries pre the game and during the game, those poor cunts were left with the crunch time of the game, 2 points down, pressing, and it was 20 minutes of fucking Anthony Milford, 2023 Milford.
And
that's the only option they had. And every time he got the fucking ball, apart from that one excellent kick he put through that was made more excellent just by the sheer speed of Hammer.
Yeah.
other
was
than
fucking
that,
going dead.
whenever the
for
ball
a
went
while.
to him, he just chucked it. Not once did he fucking like run up to the line and try and straighten up and then throw a pass to someone trailing through. He would just dish it instantly, left or right. It didn't matter. Whichever way it wasn't the way it came from.
Yep.
Like, yeah, he's not the guy, and unfortunately, it means that the bubble is going to well and truly burst for the Dolphins because Sean O'Sullivan does have a fucking horrible injury. He's going to be out for ages.
Yeah.
And I just feel,
That's fucking
and I
rough.
just, and so I think that's the win's going to get. They've built up enough wins that probably duck the spoon. So that's one job done in a sense, but. The general vibe around and the grit and determination around the side to hang in games is that's not going to change. Those players are still there.
There
But
was
the
that
ability
period,
to execute point scoring when teams start to gel,
I reckon it was when there was about 25 minutes to go, and the vibe of the game was that Brisbane were about to open it up.
Yep.
The Dolphins they'd lost everyone they were going to lose. They looked absolutely fucking shot. There were gaps everywhere that the Broncos were exploiting.
Yep.
And it felt like that was the stage that Brisbane could just go, bang, 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 put it to bed, and the story would be that, well, the Dolphins were valiant for a portion of the game, but then not at all.
Yep.
And fuck me, they just hung on.
Yep.
They hung on and they kept turning up. They're really starting to dwell in that thing of, well, hang on, we're just going to be scrappy, and we're just going to keep putting in that effort. And across the whole game, like it was absolutely fun. The Brisbane completed at 70%. The Dolphins completed.
Neither team got more than 70% on
That's
completions. The other team was 67 or something like that, I think.
Yeah.
There was so many fucking missed tackles, so many errors.
Yeah.
It was probably the worst game of the round, objectively, when you look at the stats. But the closest of the game and the story around it and everything did give it a level of
thought as
great
a
entertainment
spectacle,
value.
the game sort of lived up to the hype as far as what it was representing. For the Dolphins, we spoke about their grit and determination, and some of the effort plays. You've got Mark Nichols slapping the ball out of Cobbo's hands as he's diving over for a try.
Well, that was after he embarrassingly sort of just flopped over and to miss the tackle, and then he somehow gets his hand around there to pull it out.
Tom Gilbert's chase on the Stags try, albeit didn't get there, but fucking busted his gut every step
all
of
game
the way.
all game he was that guy.
I was going to say
there are penalties and
that
there
guy.
are penalties and restarts in that the way he plays the game.
Yeah.
But just with tackles slipping. But I mean that guy, he looked at the situation and said, "Listen, Kafusi's suspended, so I'm going to have to be the guy."
Yep.
And he was that guy.
Yep. 100%.
I have concerns about what goes on in the halves at the Dolphins due to O'Sullivan's injury. I think that is massive. It's a huge blow for them. The Reece Walsh show rolls on for another week as well.
It'll end up being Nicarima and...
They actually shut that down amazingly well too.
Yeah. Yeah, he had zero room.
Yep.
But
he still had some quality touches.
Oh, it was nothing like the previous two games. Not even 10%.
For me, Kurt Capewell was the guy for the Broncos. Just every time they needed a little something, it was, and obviously that with that try that Reynolds put him onto, but Capewell was there.
That was fucking, who was that idiot? It was a Brenko Lee, the inexplicable shooting out of the fuck,
the
hole that was there for him to run through.
Oh, just unbelievable. Unbelievably fucking stupid.
But he's a throwback to those Broncos teams of old, where they're just workmanlike, where there are just a bunch of dudes that will get in there and just work your overall game. Unfortunately, there's only one now. But he was the one that kept the ship straight, I feel, when the rest of them were stuttering. So, Broncos fans, you finally can all sit at home and know for a certain fact that you do something in rugby league exactly as well as those players that you idolise. You let the Dolphins live rent-free in your head just as well as the actual Broncos players do. Because they were fucking rattled in this game.
Yeah.
They were fucking rattled. And most importantly, this is the beginning of a fucking great rivalry. If that had been a
Yes.
blowout, it meh. Next game's fucking meh. Now I want them fucking rescheduled at Magic Round. Only if they get in a better half though, because Milford and Nicarima will get steamrolled.
Yes.
Anyone
Any
else?
socials on that one?
Oh, there were. Kevin said overall a pretty sloppy game from both sides. Dolphins really tough under a lot of injuries. They had every excuse to leak some points at the end. And fuck me, does Cobbo have some low IQ, brain dead shit in him? That boy is lucky he's athletic. Timmy. He said, lose by 6 because of the bounce was difference for the Dolphins to show guts with players injured. So proud. Dolphins to sell out Suncorp Stadium for a non-origin game. I honestly can't remember when the Broncos last did that. Now I feel like real dad with my team losing on a Friday. Weekend ruined.
Fair.
Timmy, the fucking number one Dolphins fan in our listenership, I reckon.
Fucking loves them. Anthony, he said, I feel bad for Dolphins fans. Their team has played well against the odds for 4 games, and then Milford does Milford things. Sky, fucking hell, my heart can't handle close games. Either win by 30 or lose by 30. I'm too old for this shit. Fuck off back to Redcliffe. Lachlan, who's like, I don't know if this guy's like masquerading as a Broncos fan, but this isn't the vibe, man. Massive effort from our sponge cake loving brothers in Moreton Bay. If the Broncos can manage the game a bit better and keep the ball away from our inexperienced players in key moments, we should be able to beat anyone. How fucking measured and good vibes and fucking love and peace and harmony was that shit?
That's my type of rugby league fan,
That
right
is.
there.
That's a
fucking
guy
awesome.
that has got the post nut clarity after having his way with a sponge cake.
I think you should probably
Sponge
Google.
cakes are only for victories, Glenny.
I think you should probably Google what post nut clarity is, Glenny.
I don't think so. I
Yeah.
think I'm on it.
Oh. It's not when you have an especially watery one. Liam, the first game I took both the kids to, I couldn't ask for a better introduction of the game for them. That is my fucking good vibes comment of the round. Can you imagine that? Like, that's your introduction to rugby league. Like, it was fucking messy and drop balls and this, but fuck, that atmosphere would have been good.
Yeah, exactly.
Mr. Wars on Twitter. He said, my father said it best, and I can fucking imagine him saying this. Unlike the canned goods aisle in Coles, Suncorp is not dolphin safe. And it would have taken him 10 minutes to tell that joke. I love you, Frank. That's us. Let's go.
All right, moving on to Saturday. The South Sydney Rabbitohs 13 defeated the mighty Manly Warringah Siebes Eagles 12 at Accor Stadium. The Rabbits 13 came through a double to Cody Walker, tries that is, a conversion from Latrell, a penalty to Latrell, and a field goal from Lachlan Ilias. Manly's 12 came through tries to Homoli Olakwatu and Daly Cherry Evans. And 2
just
for
very
2
quickly,
for Garrett.
You skipped a
Very
game there,
quickly.
champion.
Oh, did I?
No one fucking cares.
Oh my god, I did too. My apologies. Should we do that one and then switch it around again and then
I don't care.
I don't want to go through repeat everything again. I'll tell you what, we're gonna do this game, then we'll go rewind. Fucking, I blame New Zealand for having the fucking early game on Sunday and it just threw everything out.
Oh,
that
it was
weekend.
terrible.
Cunts.
Yeah.
Fucking, I'm off them again now. Thanks for saving the game, you cunts. But yeah, we'll get there. But honestly, I'm similar. I think to you with your game, stepdad. I'm more annoyed than unhappy. I mean, the performance was great. The game was great. They performed against the side that's going to be there, at the business end of the season. They matched them. They're probably the better side, to be perfectly honest. The only thing that I'm not super happy about is just I feel like they just didn't take enough of their opportunities in attack. And I don't know. I mean, obviously it's a new system, a new coach and everything, and they're only a month in, so these things will develop over time. But I just feel like it was almost like they were trying to make a point of not just doing the spin out to the left thing with Tommy and Schuster and that they do, but trying to, Homoli got a lot more ball, I think, than he has all season. Seemingly they went to him a lot. and didn't really get out much further than that. But they went to Homoli a lot, and I mean, he got a try, but that was from a kick from the other side of the field as well. So that seems to be a bit of a pet play that they're doing now as well, because that's his second try this season that way. But just need to get more out of an attack. The defense was great. It was all through to 80 minutes. You can see that the fitness is getting there as well. It's just they just need to get more out of the attack, and then they'll be there. The Rabbitohs, they had an important milestone in quotes game for Sattler, and it seemed to be the thing to snap Cody out of as we've spoken about a couple of times this season, with his the dumb cunt red mist descending version of Cody Walker, and he was relatively measured. There was one time there where the game threatened to sort of blow up a little bit, but I think it was more Damien Cook that fucking tried to front up to Homoli in that case. But of course, yeah.
Do you know what would be fucking great? I would love it if, like, just randomly. So the NRL says, like, on 3 occasions per season, when players are fucking grabbing each other's jersey, we're going to play this specialised sound.
And it means you can swing.
Which authorises 2 minutes of free-for-all. And just have, like, one of those ones with some
100% of the time, though, 100% of the time, if they're serious and they want to use it as, like, a marketing tool, they're going to do it when it's Cody Walker or Mitchell Moses instigating it. And just so they get absolutely fucking lit up.
I just want one of those ones where there's a tiny little fucking half or someone grabbing a props jumper
and just watching them shit themselves,
screaming at them, "I'm protected by the fucking rule book."
Yeah. It's like Jerry Springer rules, isn't it? Like a little guy who goes up and he knows that before anything's going to happen, Steve's going to come and fucking pick him up and take him over the other side of the stage.
Hold me back, man. Hold me back. Can I ask you, do you think Tommy is playing extra tentatively?
Look, there's a couple of ways to think about it, because, like, I would say that he's certainly not choosing to involve himself as much at this stage, which I understand. But at the same time, the amount of hit-ups that he does per game and the amount of runs that he does straight into the fucking teeth of the defense, into fucking props, is ridiculous. And I mean, that shit makes me fucking cringe more than anything, because I mean, the amount of times he'll put his body on the line and just smash through big guys, when the line's set and there's 3 of them there. So it's kind of weird. So it's kind of like he's doing that, but he's probably not injecting himself as much on the other side of things. But which I don't really, at this stage of the season, I'm not too bothered about.
I think he's still working Schuster out full time. I think he's...
That's the other thing too, because I mean, remember, Daly and Schuster have played 2 games together, and Schuster's had, he's had dozen games or so when he was sort of playing back row on the outside of Kieran Foran, but it's different, different role. So they've got to figure their attack out.
Have we seen him in open space yet? Have we seen him really stretch out? Because
Well,
that's where I think he's being tentative. I think it's a false sense of security if he's, I can run into the teeth of props. That's fine. Big hits are big hits, and they fucking hurt. But I'm saying I think he's tentative in really testing out his acceleration and change of direction.
Yeah, probably. I mean, but he's still got to he's still got to believe in the Knowlesy stuff is working and everything and then and he'll know his body. He'll know when he's like, it's like those conversations we were having about doing your MCL and like how you're scared to do squats after the MCL. How when you're scared to go down, past downstairs. Sort of 90 degrees. Yeah. It's the same thing. He has to. I mean, there's one thing for scans and everything to be 100%, and there's another thing for him to know that he's got the tools and the training regime from Knowlesy to fortify things and keep him injury free going forward. But it's one thing to know that, but there's another thing to actually automatically believe it in the heat of battle without sort of thinking about it. Yeah. And at the moment, I think if they get, like, they've got that whole side. You've got you've lost Kieran Foran, who was obviously a great organizer.
Yeah, okay.
Of that side, and then Schuster has to do that now, and then he's going to. Then you got next out. You got TWiL, who's he's played a couple of games for the club at the moment, so it's all a little bit new over there. But they'll figure it out. Like the attack is something that's much more dependent on natural ability of players and things like that just sort of come into play. I mean, like that fucking try that got disallowed that he scored in this game. I mean, that was just like, a half break turned into with, crisp passing and, all the guys following through and backing up, pushing up in support. And, that stuff's already there. They just need a little bit more time to sort of gel and things like that. But I am impressed with the fitness and the defense and just the way they're actually trying to hit to hurt.
Yep.
All through the game now as well, because that was one of the things that the Hazlitt era that just fucking shit me to tears was just the way they'd sort of be more like umbrella sort of defense, like sort of backing, sort of passively sort of backing off and encircling. But whereas now what they're doing is just they're just moving up and they're hitting, trying to jolt the ball free every time, which is great. And I've got to say, I mean, even though O'Shea with the mistake that cost us the game. I wish he'd had that much accountability about his fucking gay people stance that he did about dropping a fucking ball, because when he fronted the media today, the club makes a couple of players available for interviews on Mondays. He was one of the players, and he got out in front of him and said, "Look, to take full responsibility for it, blah blah blah." And he said, he's like, and then he started talking about the team more like. And the way the vibe of the team at the moment is like, how he knew that they got around him and blah blah blah, and just fit like the vibe around the squad at the moment is really good. And so I like all the ingredients, and I'm just waiting now for it all to come together. And most of it's fixed just with time.
Yep.
And I mean, like fucking Rabbits score 13 points in a fucking John Sattler fucking thing. I mean, hashtag NRL controlled scorelines. But yeah. What a shame Zorba couldn't have fucking died this week to give us a reason. I tell you when he dies, we'll put 100 points on the team. I swear to God, just the burden that'll be taken off the back of the club. Yeah, say anything, Glenny?
Phil.
Glenny, you got nothing to say, mate?
The only point I wanted, because I knew that you had would have plenty to say, so I didn't want to take up extra time. But I know it's only round 4, but that's a moment for Ilias in his career and his development. As one of the most and critical players in that side, that's a big moment for them to. For him to deliver when Mitchell had a couple of cracks and didn't get it done, for him to step up and deliver, I think that's the sort of thing that South will get the benefit of at, come finals time.
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, it was very similar to like the Mitchell Moses sort of thing. Like he was given a great shot from close in and everything, but you still got to fucking make them. And how many times have we seen games where each team has 3 of those opportunities each? Yeah. In the last, in the dying seconds of a game and during golden point or whatever, and they just go fucking sprayed everywhere and hopeless. So, he executed it. He got his chance. He, got it done. Good on him.
Very nice.
He's stepping up. He's stepping up and just making the Rabbits call to get rid of menu log more justified.
Very good, Phil.
So speaking of the menu log thing, that they just keep bombing those KO ads on everything on YouTube at the moment, and it's and they got the one like Reece Walsh and that, and then they've got the one with Adam Reynolds. I can't remember who he's with, but they're like talking about the only place to watch blah blah, and he's like, say what, and then Simone's like watching that, and she's like, these fucking idiots. And I go, no, that's your little mate fucking menu log. He plays for the Broncos now. She goes, really? Fucking I guess Adam Reynolds is on a fucking hall pass, but fair enough. He'll break his hip and be out for the season, and that'll end the Broncos. So I'll take one for the team.
Yes, well, look, we can't always control who greases the peach, so
that's right.
Phil in the Facebook group, he said it's still on track for the classic Seabold season. Win the first 2, then only 1 more for the rest of the year.
Yeah, but we've got to bring Peter Gentle in to coach the last 7 games for that to happen. And I don't know what the fuck he's doing these days.
Jamie, he said that game was haram. David, as a Manly fan, I hate to see it. What's his thing with that? Did he have to buy a membership or something?
Who? Sorry, who was it? Say it again.
Grover. He's always going on as a Manly fan.
No, I think it's because the Storm is shit in the bed. He's jumping ship.
Oh, okay, cool.
And he's not being the standard Melbourne Storm fan who are jumping up to the Dolphins. Gotcha. He's just he's respecting his betters and wanting to move on up.
Makes sense. Ryan said dropping games like Aaron Woods is already there. Richard, South were missing their best middles and Manly should have controlled field position in this game. Yes, one of South's tries came from a defensive lapse, unfortunate camera angle, but the most surprising aspect of this game was Manly's failure to capitalise on their obvious advantage. Their forwards struggled to get a decent field position for long periods, and one of their tries was an intercept. Souths were absolutely ripe for the picking, but Manly just couldn't organise their attack effectively against stubborn Souths resistance. A fitting tribute to John Sattler from Souths. Fucking hell, that's some actually high quality journalism we're getting here. Fucking hell. Jay said, "See Tigers, that's how you play a tribute game. Not only did Souths win, they also scored 13 points. The same number Sattler wore." There you go. On to the next one.
Isn't maths fun? So we're going to go back to the previous one. Travelling back in time, boys. The Cowboys 24 defeat the Titans 12.
Hang on, sorry. I just want to go in. This comment wasn't actually about the game, but I do need to put it there. It was our good friend Aaron Ma official _Aaron. Remember him when it comes time to vote. Growing up, Aaron Woods was a Manly fan. He would sit there in a Manly jersey and cheer the first grade team on. Now he's going to get paid to do the same thing. Sorry.
And the best thing is the Dragons will be paying it. Next, the Cowboys 24 defeat the Titans 12 up there at the Abattoir in Townsville. And the Cowboys, a semblance of their old selves, tries to Jeremiah Nanai, Valentine Holmes, James Tamau, and Thomas Chester. Holmes 4 conversions from as many attempts. The Titans 12 came through a double to Cam Pereira, Tanner Boyd a conversion and a penalty goal.
Cowboys were a ways off their best, but they'll take confidence for the win, and there were some glimpses there to show that things are turning around, starting to click, for them to head back to their best that they showed last year. The Titans...
Well, I mean, look at that close range crash ball Cowboys stuff. Yeah, that's kind of working again. But
for the Titans, Khan Pereira, as a finisher, is looking really impressive.
Fast.
Yeah, and his acceleration off the mark is fucking impressive. I just think that the Cowboys have probably just had a little bit too much skill in certain positions to keep the Titans at bay and probably match them through the middle, where the Titans tend to gain their ascendancy through Tino and Fafita and guys like that and Mo.
Fodawaika was fucking amazing in this game.
Yeah, he was.
Despite the result. I mean, the amount of hit-ups and meters he had in like the first 25 minutes was fucking ridiculous. He was like over 100 meters or something. Like instantly, it was amazing.
He gets better year on year, and I think he's as an important part of that forward rotation for the Titans as Tino or Fafita. But like I said, Cowboys will take confidence from it. They've still got a way to go before they're at their best, but starting to steady the ship a little bit.
Yeah, I feel that last year the Cowboys went a long way, just based on some good fundamentals, some positive game, in game attitude, and a higher than the rest of most of the league fitness level. Because if you remember when they were on their big run and they came up against Penrith, everyone was sort of surprised when Penrith had that extra gear after 60 minutes that the Cows didn't, because they just looked so fit and they'd outrun most teams most of the year. Maybe the misstep in judging where the Cows would be this year was that everybody expected that they would get that team back, plus a little bit more organisational skill. so that when the energy fails, when it's fucking 30 degrees and 80% humidity in Townsville where they live, that they'd have a little bit more of a structure to fall back on, and I'm not sure that's the case. They didn't look as if they're fitter than other teams. They don't look as if they're out enthusing other teams at the moment. So at this stage, it's a slight regression from last year. But there's just some undeniable class in there. Like Val Holmes, I think, had the best game he's had all year.
Yep.
And last year he was an absolute fucking standout. Absolute standout. But he seems to be getting back into that form where all of a sudden it doesn't look like there's broken field, but he turns it into it.
Yep.
And if they can keep on that trajectory, then they'll be there at year's end. Anyone else want to add anything?
No.
On that? Hammers. He's gone past refs faulting. Now he's God's faulting. He said we got dicked over in every facet by the footy gods. Can Glennie please go back to shitting on us? The Tigers' stink doesn't take much at all to rub off on another team. Jordan. He said, I wanted to fight Shibasaki, and then he got injured. Now I really want to fight him just to make sure he's injured. Zach. He said the Titans are the Queensland Tigers.
Oof.
That's very fucking
That's
insulting.
offensive.
That's probably the worst thing that anyone's ever said about the Titans.
That's the worst thing anyone's ever said about anyone. Including that fucking cranky German bloke in 1939. That's it. On to the next game.
Okay, the Sunday games. The Warriors 16 defeated the Bulldogs 14 at home at Mount Smart Stadium. The Warriors 16 came through tries to Violea, Sean Johnson and Montoya. Sean Johnson 2 of 3 conversions. The Doggies 14 came through tries to Carraz and the Fox. Burton 2 conversions, 1 penalty goal.
I expected the Bulldogs to be better and take another couple of steps in their own progression as a side under Ciraldo, but instead, the big storyline for me and one of the low-key best storylines of 2023 so far is Sean Johnson's career resurgence. I think he that moment where he ran the ball and threw the dummy and sold a beautiful dummy and scored. He just, under Webster, he just looks more controlled, less erratic, and more often than not is taking the smart and the higher percentage option, which hasn't always been the case for Sean Johnson over the course of his career, no matter where he's played. So,
I'd add maybe not necessarily the lazy option.
Yeah, that's fair. Apart from that, my biggest takeaway from this game is that Adam Blair might be the worst sideline commentator in the history of not only rugby league, but any sport ever invented. He is atrocious. And the Kiwi commentators are historically poor. He might be the worst of them.
I've got a worse one for you, but I'll wait till we finish talking about this game before I throw him under the bus. Okay. It's a blast from the past name on the ABC Grandstand.
Oh God, okay.
Oh fuck it, we'll do it now. We'll do it. It's usually when there's Cowboy games on. Fucking Laurie Spina.
Okay.
Look, bless the guy. He's trying. But he's clearly old there because he's local an ex-player. And the poor cunt, he can't barely string two. He can barely string 2 words together. Like they cross down to him, and he just like it's just the pissed old fucking teabag at the fucking end of the bar that's been there all day. Like, to the point where you just go, oh my, you just feel bad for the guy.
Live to Barney Gumble for his thoughts.
Yeah.
Oh goodness me.
Also, Tamari Martin, fucking huge.
Yes.
And I think, and a large part, I think, of Sean Johnson's improved year.
He's just so calm.
Already.
Like, he's just calm and controlled and, has a really solid skill set, but doesn't overplay his hand, understands what's required of him, just goes out and executes. It's impressive to see him get that opportunity at the Warriors, and and his game suits not only Webster's coaching but also Johnson's game immeasurably. And I think that combination is a big reason why the Warriors are probably surprising a few people.
Right.
That's it for me.
Nice. I got nothing to say. I forgot this game was on.
Wow.
My weekend has been very well organised a little while around 2 Sunday games. So, but I'm glad Sean Johnson appears to have had a fucking blinder. For years, I've been on the fuck. I wish Sean Johnson would played under a decent coach, and it looks like maybe he is. And to that effect, Chris Bailey in the Facebook group, he said, "This is what happens when a football club has a proper coach and not a big head, little head, bald fraud." Levi said, "Classic doggies, going through all of that just to end up with the wrong Panthers assistant coach. Webby is turning my boy SJ into a game closer. I'm also loving that Jackson Ford got that dog in him." Terry,
Yeah, what a fucking breakout season he's having for a new club.
yeah. Fuck yeah. Terry _Bull_ on Twitter. He said, "AFB the best on ground. Why did Serraldo leave a forward on the bench for a full game? While SJ's try shouldn't have stood, the Dogs' attack just didn't produce enough points. Flano was on his way to reserve grade, methinks." Interesting. What was Serraldo's bench rotation thing? Who did he leave on the bench?
I can't even fucking remember.
Oh, fair enough.
The most complaints about this game that I saw from the Doggies was, they were trying to say that the try that Sean Johnson scored, where there was an obstruction.
He was taken out. Marnie.
Yeah, I mean the guy was he was support runner. Like, I didn't have any real problem with it, but ignoring the fact that Kickow blatantly stripped the ball from the hands of, I think it was Montoya.
Yeah.
And he then picked it up again and scored, and they disallowed that try. Whoever was in the video referee box, I think it was Ben Cummins, he took one look at the wrong angle and said, "Oh no, he's dropped the ball, knock on, Doggy's ball." And then while the play's continuing, they're running the replays on the big screen. And they show the opposite angle, which shows Kickout just fucking rip out like as clear as anything. And it was absolutely, and that Johnson try didn't happen too long after that. It was what the Fox try happened immediately. That set the Dogs, like 3 tackles later, the Dogs went length of the field with Fox to score.
Yeah,
and so it was a 12-point turnaround. And and then the Justice try with
Jaden Tanner played 0 minutes in this game off the bench.
That's not even a real player, though, is it? That's not even a real player, though, is it?
It is, number 16.
You're making that name up, right?
Next game. Let's go.
Okay, we move to the Newcastle Knights, 24, defeating the Canberra Raiders 14 in Newcastle. The Knights, their points came through a double to Greg Marzu. Bradman Best, Dane Gagai and Tyson Frizzell all with tries. Hastings missed all his conversion attempts. Lockie Miller 2 of 3 and 1 penalty goal he missed. The Raiders 14 tries to Hudson Young, Jack Whiten, Frawley with a 2-point field goal, and Corey, Harawira and Naira 2 from 2 on the conversions.
Who knew?
Is there anything that man can't do?
The ease in which
keep it in his pants when school teachers are around.
That's fair. The ease in which the Knights pulled away at the back end of this game has to be concerning for the Raiders, and even more concerning than that is the potential loss of Whiten for several weeks. Is that all he's getting?
Yep. Just came through tonight. Two game bans for Whiten.
Okay. That's not a bad result, because he was off the ground and there was, they can talk about intent, but there was shoulder contact with the head.
That is kissed on the fucking peenie.
I think with the way the Raiders are going, those couple of weeks for White is going to be massive for them. I thought, Frawley stood up and tried his best, although his talent and skill set is limited at this level. But he was adequate. But the Knights, they put some points on and really cut them to pieces on the edges a few times across the course of the game. And there was one try in particular. It was Marju's first try. Beautiful set play, and they ran decoys and stripped them for numbers across the field as they swung the ball from left to right, and it was quite impressive. And Tyson Gamble again making the most of his opportunities in first grade, and heavily involved and talking a lot of shit as he does.
I think the stat that sums it up most is a missed tackles, and when you look at that, the Knights missed 24 tackles, which is like it's high, but it'd be in the realms of acceptable, in certain games. The Raiders missed 45.
That's a loss. That's a loss every time.
That stat, but that stat can also be deceptive because there are those old. You remember the Jimmy Maloney missed tackles, where he'd get up in front of somebody and he would be bounced off himself. However, he would slow the momentum of that player down enough for two other people to scramble and get on them and actually affect the tackle. Which is why I think now they've changed that to not necessarily a missed tackle, but an ineffective tackle.
Yeah.
But one thing the Raiders don't tend to do well, and I think that's just by virtue of the fact that they're such big bodies, especially in the middle third of the field, they don't scramble well. So when there's that missed tackle, they pay for it in territory. So if they're going to keep defending like that and keep opening up like they did, they're in for a very long season. How many times did Whiten kick out on the full in this one? Do we keep a count?
There was one. It wasn't dead. It was out in the full from the end of the set kick.
Yeah,
I definitely remember one time. Every time he kicks it out in the full or kicks it out, I always think back to like, okay, could say that for the show. It's just one of those things like when Reynolds gets injured. Yeah, all right, tick.
File that away. One-eyed Tiger. He said a second half fade, like only a team of intestinally frail canines could fade. Jason said Maguire's instilling those Tiger values as the Raiders' defensive coach. Daniel, if Miller continues like he is, Knights might go for the medical retirement option to free up cash for a real 5/8. He's not doing too bad.
He's fucking spectacular. Best thing about the team.
Kurt Mann has an 11-day holiday and books a return ticket to Canada to check on a mate. Sam, the only guarantee in rugby league is Jack Whiten kicking out on the full every single fucking game. Isaac, as a fan, I just need a few home wins that I attend. Very happy to be at that one. Low expectations leads to better game experiences. I enjoyed the Dolphins game too. There you go. Matthew asks a decent question. He goes, at what point does being best mates with the CEO get forgotten and Canberra finally realise that Ricky is just a rubbish coach?
I'll have to wait for a Canberra fan to get on Twitter and say, we've been crap for so many years and why won't the NRL step in and do something?
Because it's hilarious.
Like, honestly, it's because fuck him, that's why. I mean, like, what do I care? He can coach him till I'm dead. I don't give a shit.
Troy. Oh, Troy's
jobs for life for Ricky.
He says, that was fucking dreadful. It was embarrassing. Fancy losing to that special ed night side. Or maybe we are just shit and not up to NRL standard. Timoko is the only player putting in. The rest are a bunch of fucking flogs.
Wow.
Sebastian Chris is just not fucking... He's not
there. He's not.
He is not.
He's not that guy.
I feel bad for the cunt, to be honest.
Bennett.
It's not his position, exactly. He shouldn't,
Bennett, with one of my comments of the round, he says, I'm outsourcing all of my game comments to my 11-year-old son now. As he watched the KO Mini this morning, he said, Matt Frawley looks like a pedophile. I've taught him well.
Honestly, Matt Frawley that's the one thing on the videotape session that I would say if I was coaching him. So, mate, just fucking let it go. Yeah. You gotta let that. It's not coming back. You're not fooling
But I went
anybody.
to a barber and I asked for the fucking red path. That's what they do in Canberra.
Just look like. I mean, I'm sure there was a time there where Glennie was fucking straddling the fucking territory of skinhead and pedophile, and he eventually just went fuck it, and then started
I
shaving
went
it
from
off, right?
frosted tips, Caesar cut to shaved head. It was a very quick transition. Then bald.
What made that decision
Because
for you?
you
just saw the writing on the wall,
tips
or
couldn't be combed far enough forward to make it look normal. So they had to go.
So you look like I'm trying to imagine what it looked like, and I'm thinking like Stephen Bradbury's hair.
It looked like someone dropped their bowl of 2-minute noodles on my head.
Stephen Bradbury's got the frosted tips, but they sort of only start like halfway across his head.
Imagine like the 40-year reunion tour of East 17. That's what Glennie looked like at 17.
Yeah, the camo fucking parka and everything. I bet.
Of course I did. Yeah, good.
Everybody in House of Love.
It's really all right.
So we got one more.
JR_Buff, he said, who is the show's favourite Knights player and why is it Tyson Gamble?
Well, obviously.
Fucking balanced out by Kurt Mann.
Lovely. That's us.
Kurt Mann getting loads of minutes too, Glenn. He was delighting you, no doubt. The last game, Sunday evening, the Cronulla Sutherland Sharks 40 defeated the St. George Illawarra Dragons 8. The Sharks, they had tries to Kennedy, a double to Ramian, a double to the Mutt. Nikora and Katoa also with tries. Nico returning with 5 of 7 conversions and a penalty goal to Talakai. The Dragons, they had tries to Ben Hunt and Jaden Sewer. Zach Lomax missing with both attempts.
The Dragons looked up for the fight in the first half. Ben Hunt scored an impressive solo try, and Jaden Sewer found some space out wide. They slung the ball and he cut through, and you could be forgiven for thinking that the Dragons were up for the contest.
Well, when you think back, they had the bye first round. Second round, they came out and put it on the Titans. Third round, they were with the Broncos, if not leading, for almost the entire game, and then got blown out with a flurry in the last sort of 7 minutes of the game. This game, they didn't hang in it as long, but they were leading 8-6. And then I think when they went behind 12-8, and then it went. They probably capitulated maybe 25 minutes before full time, not 7 minutes. So the resilience, once this team decides that the game is lost, they can fold quickly.
Yeah.
Nico Hines had an impressive return for Cronulla. Had a hand in everything, just steered them around, and his passing game's so clean and crisp, and just gets the ball in the right spot at all times. He was really impressive, and I think it probably freed Moylan up, who also had some really nice touches as well. But their outside backs just cut loose, just had space as a result of the ball playing from Hines, and just the Dragons. Once it started, they not only could they not pull it back, but they just completely capitulated, as you said, and just it got away from them very, very quickly.
Yep.
To this one, like similar to what I was saying about the Tigers, this is that other one I want to talk about. That team, like Ben Hunt to me looks like about the only one that's putting in effort, and by that I mean it's really easy when you're scoring tries or when it's early in the game and you're not in a hole yet to look enthusiastic and go about your business. But Ben Hunt, to me, looks about the only player that's taking any sort of pride in his 80 minutes.
His effort level from minute 1 to minute 80 is high at all times, no matter what the scoreline is. He's just competing. Yeah.
And this is that thing again. It's in other sports when they talk about the MVP race every year, there's that argument that should it go to who you think is the best player, or should it go to the player that is the most valuable for their team? And if you had to judge, I think in the NRL on that, he would be the winner, hands down at the moment. But yeah, Nico made all the difference to that side. All the difference to that side. The tempo they played at, the options they took, and really just how ready everyone was for the ball at all times. And you can tell that they trust him implicitly. There's a bunch of teams out there where and you see it so much, and you can be forgiven. It's a fucking hard game, but then all of a sudden, someone gets a pass and they don't realise it till it's too late, and they just stick a hand up and touch it, and it goes forward. And the commentator's on. Oh, he wasn't expecting that one to go to him. You can see that when Nico chooses the side they're going, everyone on that side is expecting the ball all the time, because they're just like, well, he'll just choose which one of us is in the best position. I'm not going to decide that it's not coming to me. We're all just going to be there and ready. And they just let him run the team. It's fucking good to watch.
Well said.
Yep. And instantly he's injection back into the side, and instantly they look like they did for the vast majority of last year.
Oh, isn't that interesting? The Sharks inject something, and all of a sudden they're world beaters. Fuck. Mitch. So the Sharkies were dominant in the second half. Hines was insanely good. Still room for improvement. At halftime, they were lucky to be handling at 58%. And then on the counter to that, Timmy said, I think it's so brave for Nico Hines to play his first game since his mum killed someone, especially when Payne Haas has been doing it all season. Oh, fucking Dairy Queen.
Is that it? No.
My wife said that Nico Hines was her hall pass. I'm glad we finally have something in common. Matthew, after 4 rounds, only 2 teams have had 40 points put on them. The Dragons and St. George. Sharky Dave 44 on Twitter. He said, not only do we own the Dragons, we also own Griffin's soul. Hasn't beaten us in over a decade. That's fucking cute. You guys keep clinging to your little irrelevant forms of victory.
Factoids.
Yes. That's us. We're done.
You're only salty about that because some of those were Griffin Penrith games.
Absolutely fucking not. Griffin was our coach. I understand full well what getting beaten with Griffin as your coach feels like.
All right, so that is it. That was round 4, and what a wonderful round it was, especially when your team can lose and go up 1 position on the ladder into second place.
Yeah, good.
Tremendous. As always, you can head to thisweekinleague.com/links, and that'll get you links to everything: the Facebook groups, tipping, Discord, Patreon, all that good shit. And I've got nothing else to add.
Fuck yeah.
Plenty? Yeah, anything to say before we bail on this?
That's me done.
All right, on that note, see you on Wednesday.
See ya.
Later.